Tonight, before you go to sleep, there is a good chance you will reach for something. A cigarette, a vape pen, a pipe, maybe just a cup of tea steeped from dried leaves. You will inhale something, feel something shift inside your chest, and exhale. And you will not think twice about it. But here is what nobody tells you. That gesture, that reach, that inhale, that exhale is one of the oldest things a human body has ever done. It did not start with cigarette companies. It did not start with colonial trade routes or ancient Chinese medicine. It started so long ago that the people who first did it were not even fully human yet. And that changes everything you think you know about why you do it. Let us go back. Not a few centuries, not a few millennia, back roughly 50,000 years, to a campfire somewhere in what is now southern Africa. A group of early Homo sapiens are sitting in a circle. The fire is large, the smoke is thick, and mixed into that fire, whether by accident or by intention, are dried plants, herbs, roots, bark, some of them psychoactive, some of them medicinal, some of them simply fragrant. And the people sitting around that fire are breathing it all in. This is where it begins. Archaeologist Lynn Wadley, working at the Sibidu cave site in South Africa, found evidence of deliberately burned plants, including plants with known sedative and insect repellent properties, dating back approximately 77,000 years. 77,000. That is not ancient history in the way we normally mean it. That is before agriculture, before language as we understand it, before anything we would recognize as civilization. And already humans were selecting specific plants, putting them in fire, and choosing to sit inside the smoke. Why? The simplest answer is because it worked. Plants produce chemical compounds, alkaloids, terpenes, cannabinoids, as their own defense mechanisms to repel insects or deter animals from eating them. But when a human body encounters those same compounds, especially through inhalation, the effects are rapid and often dramatic. Pain dulls, anxiety softens. The world slows down just enough to be bearable. Your ancestors were not chemists, but they were observers, and they noticed. Touch this plant to the fire and breathe. Something happens. Something good, or at least something interesting. Anthropologist Michael Winkelmann has spent decades studying the relationship between early human consciousness and psychoactive plants. His argument is striking. He suggests that the use of mind-altering substances, including smoke, was not an accident of early human culture. It was a feature. It helped groups bond. It created shared altered states, which reinforced group identity and social cohesion. When everyone in the circle is breathing the same smoke and experiencing the same shift in perception, you are not just sitting around a fire anymore. You are having a collective experience. You are, in the most ancient sense of the word, a community. So when did ancient humans start smoking? The honest answer is, we do not know exactly. But the evidence suggests that deliberate inhalation of plant smoke is at least as old as behaviorally modern humans, and possibly much older. Here's something that might surprise you. The oldest confirmed pipe, a hollowed bone or reed used to direct and concentrate smoke, dates to roughly 3,000 years ago. But functional smoking devices do not need to be preserved to prove that smoking happened. A cupped hand over a burning leaf, a hollow reed, a folded piece of bark. None of those survive in the archaeological record. What survives is chemical residue. And that residue tells stories that clay pipes cannot. Researchers analyzing residue from ancient ceramic vessels and stone hearths across the Americas have found traces of nicotine, cocaine precursors, and other plant alkaloids in contexts dating back thousands of years. In 2019, a study published in the Journal of Archaeological Science identified nicotine residue inside a pouch buried with a ritual specialist in southwestern Colorado, dated to roughly 1,000 years ago. The pouch also contained the remains of dried plants not native to the region. Someone had traveled or traded specifically to obtain them. This was not casual, this was deliberate, organized, ritualized. Tobacco itself, the plant we now associate most closely with smoking, appears to have been domesticated in South America somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 years ago, long before Columbus, long before the first European ever coughed on their first pipe. Indigenous peoples across North and South America had built entire ceremonial frameworks around tobacco inhalation. The smoke was not a habit, it was a technology, a way of communicating with something beyond the visible world, a way of marking the boundary between the ordinary and the sacred. And this pattern, smoke as sacred boundary, appears in culture after culture after culture across continents that had no contact with each other. In ancient Mesopotamia, temple priests burned aromatic resins and herbs as offerings to the gods. The word for prayer and the word for smoke share the same root in several ancient languages. In ancient Egypt, kaifi, a blend of at least 16 plant ingredients, including juniper and myrrh, was burned in temples and described in medical texts as a treatment for anxiety and respiratory illness. In ancient Greece, the oracle at Delphi reportedly inhaled vapors rising from a crack in the earth before delivering her prophecies. Modern geologists have identified ethylene gas venting from that site, a compound known to produce dissociative effects at low concentrations. Every time, across every culture, the pattern is the same. Breathe something in, cross a threshold, come back changed. Now here's the part that makes this strange and personal, because you are not just inheriting a history of smoking, you are inheriting a biology shaped by 50,000 or more years of plants and fire and breath. Your lungs evolved long before cigarettes. But your brain, specifically the reward circuitry deep inside your brain, the dopamine pathways that fire every time something feels significant, that wiring is ancient. And it does not know the difference between a ritual pipe in a ceremonial tent and a cigarette break outside an office building. It just knows. Inhale. Something shifts. Exhale. Neuroscientist David Nutt, former head of the UK's Advisory Council on the Misuse of Drugs, has pointed out that almost every substance humans have ritually consumed across history, nicotine, cannabis, alcohol, psilocybin, caffeine, acts on the same core neurological circuits, the circuits governing reward, pattern recognition, social bonding, and the suppression of anxiety. These are not the circuits of addiction in the narrow sense. These are survival circuits. They are the circuits that told your ancestors, this matters. Pay attention. Remember this. Come back to this. The plant knew that before the human did. What changed was not the biology. What changed was the context. When ancient humans sat in smoke at the edge of firelight, the experience was embedded in community, in ritual, in meaning. The altered state had a frame around it, a reason, a ceremony. It pointed at something larger than the self. Modern smoking, industrial, solitary, compulsive, stripped of ceremony, kept the biochemistry, but lost the context. The brain still fires the same ancient circuits. But now those circuits are pointing at nothing in particular. Just the next cigarette, just the next exhale. This is not an argument for or against anything. It is just the shape of the truth. Because something else is true too. Something researchers like Robin Wall Kimmerer, botanist and member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, have written about with a depth that science alone cannot reach. The relationship between humans and plants is not one-directional. It is not simply that humans discovered plants and used them. Plants, she argues, shaped human culture. Plants shaped human ritual. Plants, in some sense, shaped human consciousness itself. The smoke was not just something humans breathed, It was something that over tens of thousands of years breathed us back. So tonight, when you reach for something, whatever it is, and you inhale, and something shifts, and you exhale, you are doing something your ancestors did around fires in the dark, before the first city was built, before the first word was written down, before any of this. You have been practicing this for 50,000 years. Your lungs remember even when your mind does not. And the smoke rising into the air above you is not going anywhere new. It is going exactly where it has always gone, up, into the dark, and dissolving, just like it always has.